F1:14:24 McLarens Stoffel Vandoorne says a first-lap clash with Ferrari rival Kimi Räikkönen scuppered his hopes of claiming a strong result at the Japanese Grand Prix. Vandoorne, having taken back-to-back 7th-place finishes in Singapore and Malaysia, started from 9th position at Suzuka, but made contact with Räikkönen through the exit of turn 12. Vandoorne slipped down to 18th place as a result and circulated towards the rear of the pack throughout the remainder of the race, ultimately classifying in 14th position, ahead of only Sauber's Pascal Wehrlein. "We've had a couple of good races, but it was one to forget, really," said Vandoorne. "I made a reasonable start. Then, as we went into turn 2, and everyone was trying to find some space, I got hit by Kimi. I don't think it was intentional, it was just cars being in the wrong places at the wrong time. My afternoon was compromised from that point. I fell to the back, and drove my own race to the flag. Suzuka is a very special place, so it's just a shame we couldn't get a good result for all the thousands of fans in the grandstands." Fernando Alonso started from the back row of the grid in the other McLaren and came home in 11th position, narrowly missing out on the final point. "From the very beginning, at the second corner, the two Williams touched in front of me, and made me lose a few positions," said Alonso. "As a result, we ended up in the secondary group, running a little slower than our true pace, and could not overtake. I lost a lot of time, and that really compromised our race. A shame, definitely not one of our best races." Latest news 17:02 Watch as Sebastian Vettel's special helmet design for the Japanese Grand Prix is painted by Agnieszka Wienand of Jens Munzer. F1 17:02 F1 16:16 Legendary announcer Michael Buffer is set to introduce drivers onto the grid at next weekend's United States Grand Prix. In a F1 15:28 Lewis Hamilton strode into a 59-point lead with victory as the spark went out of the title battle following another Ferrari. F1 14:24 McLarens Stoffel Vandoorne says a first-lap clash with Ferrari rival Kimi Räikkönen scuppered his hopes of claiming a strong F1 13:06 go on board with ex-Formula One driver Rio Haryanto as he tests Formula E machinery at the Ricardo Tormo circuit in Valencia. FA 12:16 Felipe Massa says it is difficult to understand why Williams lacked race pace compared to its midfield rivals at the Japanese F1 11:42 Renault's Nico Hülkenberg reckons the issue with his drag reduction system DRS shortly after his pit stop cost him a points. F1 10:22 Kevin Magnussen has heaped praise on Haas for getting everything right to turn midfield grid slots into a double points finish. F1 09:12 Mercedes boss Toto Wolff labeled Lewis Hamilton's display at the Japanese Grand Prix as perfect, after the Briton moved 59. F1 08:24 Esteban Ocon hailed an awesome result for Force India at the Japanese Grand Prix, as he came home in 6th position, backed up. F1 05:12 It's about overcoming your failures, it's about overcoming difficult times. Lewis Hamilton talks about one of the key. F1 03:46 F1 16:22 Ever wondered what happens to Formula One tires on a race weekend? Tom Briggs, McLaren support crew team leader, talks through a F1 14:16 F2 14:15 Russian times Artem Marklev claimed victory in the Formula 2 sprint race at Jerez, with high tire degradation levels leading. F2 13:01 F1 12:51 Red Bull Motorsport consultant Helmut Marko has suggested that it would be better if Felipe Massa retires, after his actions. F1 12:02 Daniel Ricciardo tries to speak Japanese during a visit to Formula One's official fan stage at Suzuka with Red Bull teammate. F1 11:52 Ardent's Nico Carey has been stripped of his podium finish at the second GP3 race of the weekend at Jerez after he was deemed GP3 11:33 Kimi Räikkönen says that Ferrari must understand why it is encountering reliability problems during crucial stages of a race. F1 10:51 Mercedes Valtteri Bottas was left to narrowly missing out on a podium finish at the Japanese Grand Prix, as he came home. F1 10:40 GP3 10:39 Mercedes-backed George Russell clinched the GP3 title with a round to spare after taking 5th position in the second race of GP3 10:38 McLaren driver Fernando Alonso has been reprimanded and handed penalty points for ignoring blue flags during the Japanese Grand F1 1004 Jolyon Palmer insists that he is happy to move on with his motorsport career after completing his final race for Renault at F1 0958 Carlos Sainz Jr. has apologized to Toro Rosso after retiring on the first lap of the Japanese Grand Prix, his final race with F1 0851 Red Bull's Daniel Ricciardo was pleased to complete his personal objective of securing his first Japanese Grand Prix. F1 0846 Sebastian Vettel's disastrous Japanese Grand Prix race day has been rounded out with a reprimand after he missed the pre-race F10820 Max Verstappen says he gave it all in his quest for victory at the Japanese Grand Prix, as he chased Lewis Hamilton through to F10806 Lewis Hamilton says he could only have dreamed of building such a significant title lead after moving 59 points clear of F10735 Lewis Hamilton delivered a crushing blow in the title race by taking victory at the Japanese Grand Prix, surviving a late scare. F10706 Sebastian Vettel has defended Ferrari after he suffered a further setback due to reliability woes at the Japanese Grand F10636 Sebastian Vettel's title hopes have taken a fresh blow after the German encountered engine problems during the opening stages of F10527, F10502, F10405 Formula One tire supplier Pirelli believes that a two-stop strategy will be the optimum approach for drivers during the Japanese F10200. Take a look behind the scenes with Ferrari and drivers Sebastian Vettel and Kimi Räikkönen during the Japanese Grand Prix. F11702, F2 1700 newly crowned Formula 2 champion Charles Leclerc says a communication mix-up was behind his lack of pace during the closing F2